It's Press Pass with Jack Ebling, Mid-Michigan's spirited sports debate. Now let's get talking sports. Here's Jack.
Great evening, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to Press Pass here on Fox 47. Week 26 of 2021 is in the books. And that means Big Ten football is less than 10 weeks away. In the meantime, we have tons of recruiting. We have the NBA Conference Finals, hockey's Stanley Cup, baseball, and more to keep us busy. And here to talk about that is Team 404. Rico Beard, longtime Detroit radio and TV personality. Specs Howard, broadcast instructor, recruiting insider, and he is co-host of the Mike Valeni Show with Rico on 97.1 The Ticket. How you doing, Rico?
Jack, I'm great. Great to be back on for another show to talk some actual sports. It's a good time here in the city of Detroit as they landed the number one pick. The Pistons did, that is. So,
how about that?
Fun times here in Detroit.
Yeah. Are you getting to the point now where you're starting to get some Pistons calls, not just Lions calls 12 months a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that they got the number one overall pick. No one saw this coming. I mean, we did a little bit where we prayed for the city, didn't know that it was going to actually work. So, yeah, Pistons, K. Cunningham, come on down. Let's get the K Brigade or Motorcade or whatever you want to call it. The Pistons may actually have their first star.
The prayers of a lot of people, Pistons fans, were answered. Also want to welcome Tom Crawford, Blue Belly Tom. He's been my broadcast partner for more than 19 years. He is a regular contributor to the Wolverine.com, and he's the creator of the Crawford Podcasting Network. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing great. Yeah, that was a crazy week. We had actually the Detroit Pistons having some kind of news peg notoriety in the month of June. I mean, when was the last time that happened? That was a big deal this week. I've really been enjoying the NBA playoffs. So, Jack, I'm just all about, there's been some great drama. I'm really enjoying it. I don't want it to end, but I do want college football to begin, though. And that's, 10 weeks away. So Getting excited about that.
Well, the Pistons have not won a playoff game, Tom, not a series, a game since 2008. So it's been 13 years since they were mentioned in the month of June in anything but an obscenity. But we are 1 week away from the 4th of July. And does that mark something in the calendar now when you can start counting down to college football? Yeah.
I mean, 4th of July, go to the lake. But then right after that, I start thinking of Big Ten Media Days coming at the latter part of June, 22nd, 23rd down in Indy. And just the whole mindset of college football is right around the corner.
It won't be long. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about Michigan State recruiting and more coming up.
Bet Rivers Online Casino is now taking bets in Michigan. Play amazing real money slots and table games right on your mobile phone. New members can get up to a $250 bonus on their first deposit. Play with a winner. Go to betrivers.com today.
70% of metal roof sales are made by con artists.
Frank Farmer, president of American Metal Roofs.
You're not an expert on what goes into a lifetime metal roof. Not a big deal, unless you run into a shady metal roof salesman. They know you're not an expert, and they con you into believing they offer the same roof as we do, only cheaper, which is a lie. I get calls every day from homeowners who believe the lie and bought a roof designed to cover a cow barn. They plead with me to come out and fix their disaster of a metal roof. But the problem is, there is no fix. Wet insulation needs to be removed, mold cleaned up, and those leaky roofing panels need to be completely replaced. Don't buy the lie. If you're after a beautiful, permanent, and guaranteed metal roof, American Metal Roofs will tell you the truth about your roofing options and what it really costs for a metal roof for your home.
Save up to 40% right now during our factory clearance sale. Call 844 Metal Roofs. Pictures, videos, and more online at
AmericanMetalRoofs.com. Send us your favorite fireworks display pics celebrating America. Go to fox47news.com/celebrate. Sponsored by Larry's RV in Jackson.
Get more local news. Watch Fox 47 Morning News weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
When you take a look inside Dart Bank, you'll find a banking experience like no other. you'll find that each of our banking offices are made of local people making local decisions. Even through these challenging times, our teams and lobbies stayed open, ready to help you through all your banking and mortgage needs when you needed us most. So if you're looking to upgrade where you bank, we invite you to come see our DART difference. After all, we've been doing this for over 94 years. DART Bank, for what matters most.
At Graf Chevrolet in Okemos, you'll always get a great deal on a huge selection of high-quality used cars and trucks. But you'll also get something else: peace of mind. Every Graf used vehicle purchase comes with up to 6 oil changes for the first 2 years of ownership. We'll also give you free tire rotation with every other oil change. Always a great selection of used vehicles starting from $1,000 and up. Check them out at grafokemos.com. Lower your cost of ownership with our Peace of Mind program, only at Graf Chevrolet in Okemos.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Going Green segment, brought to you by Graf Chevrolet and Graf Nissan on West Grand River in Okemos. With 107 years in the automobile business, they'll take great care of you, as they have on all 7 of my leases and purchases. For a new or used vehicle, go green, go Graf. There you see California quarterback Kayton Hauser, who announced his commitment to Michigan State today. He is the 12th player for the Spartans in the class of 2022, if everyone stays in the fold. Rico, Mel Tucker and his staff were in love with Kayton, don't call me Joey Hauser, long before he was MVP of the West Coast Elite 11 camp and moved on to next week's Elite 11 Nationals. But what does it really mean that Kayton Hauser decommitted from Boise State and is coming to East Lansing?
Well, I think it's a major coup for Mel Tucker and the Spartan team to go out and address a guy that they saw that was lighting it up. And he came for his official visit earlier in the week. And from what I heard, it went extremely well. He went home. He decommitted from Boise State, and he committed to Michigan State today around 1 p.m. Eastern time. For Mel Tucker, I think this is good because you need your quarterback to help round the class out, because now the quarterback can go and talk to the big name receivers, the big running backs, and say, hey, guys, let's come and we'll be a part of this offense. They already got the big uglies. So now you got to go out and get the pretty boys. You got to get the guys that score the touchdowns, and now you got the quarterback.
Tom, let's take a look at another tweet from Kayton Hauser when he is here on campus, and you see 4 shots there, Spartan up, the one in the lower right-hand corner there with his family. What does that say? Everybody coming in from California. And Rico said that he would not recruit a high school quarterback and just pick players off the transfer portal. Could you see a program someday being bold enough to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand where Rico's coming from, because there's a lot of talent out there in the portal for the quick fix, if you will, and yeah. Michigan State needs that. So I see that valid point. This kid's got it. He's got the boyish good looks of California. I mean, my God, the co-eds will be going crazy here in East Lansing. This is like Kirk Cousins happening all over again here. But when you say okay, so he did commit it from Boise State. Keep in mind, right. Boise State is a group of 5 conference. That's not a power 5. Yeah. So, I mean, I always look, when I evaluate a player, who else wants him? Not what he's rated, who else wants him? Not smart enough to figure out film, but who are the other teams? That's what I need to know more about this kid.
Yeah, and he had a lot of offers or opportunities beyond Boise State, but sometimes you get a connection with a coach or a quarterback's tutor. And Boise State has certainly had its share of quarterbacks, so there's that to be said. But Rico, if you look at Michigan State's class thus far for 2022, and we're going to take a look at this breakdown now by state, you find just 2 of the 12 players from the state of Michigan. You've got 3 from Georgia. You have 2 from Arizona, 1 each from Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Colorado, and California. Not exactly what we had with Mark D'Antonio and the only within driving distance strategy.
No, Mel Tucker is going out trying to get the players that can help him win and win now. And I mean, you saw that from just the transfer portal, Jack. And I'm glad. I mean, going down to SEC territory and trying to get as many people as you can, that's going to help you win. Every year, year in and year out, we see teams from the SEC winning, or teams from that part of the country, the southeast part, winning. So he's saying, I'm going to draw from that pool, and hopefully that can elevate Michigan State.
Tom Crawford, I know another young coach who spent a lot of time in South Florida. How many players did Cody Crawford recruit from there for Allegheny?
Well, he's had 22 in a couple of years to come from South Florida and Broward, Miami-Dade to come and play D3 football in Western PA. So, but there's a lot of talent down there, mind you, and it's just a lot of sheer talent. State of Georgia, that's solid, well-coached football, high-paid football coaches, strong fundamentals. Florida is about sheer athleticism when it comes down to it. So Georgia's not a bad place to recruit if I'm Michigan State.
Tom, the Spartans plan to add Cass Tech coaching legend Thomas Wilcher, former Michigan running back, as an analyst, and I think he'll be a high school liaison. That means MSU can't sign a Cass Tech player for the next 2 years, but with all the success Wilcher's had, I think he's had 8 players in the NFL, and he and Jim Harbaugh were teammates. Why hasn't Wilcher been hired in Ann Arbor, where they've had 35 staffers in the last 6.5 years?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think he got thirsty for coaching college football when Ronald Bellamy got hired by Michigan. That's why his willingness to go to Michigan State. Listen, I'm not sure why. I can't figure Jim Harbaugh out. Never have, never will be able to. He will be a good addition. I know the talent is a little bit less down there in Detroit, but still a good hire.
We'll be right back. We're talking about Michigan and much, much more coming up.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
So, I got my start in officiating when a friend told me I should try it. At first I just did basketball, and I got hooked. Before long, I added baseball, softball, football, and volleyball. I really enjoy giving back to the game, working with kids, and working with my local association to recruit and train new officials. I would like to say to anybody that officiating is a great way to help kids and stay connected to the game. We always need new officials. There's help wanted, just listen.
When you take a look inside Dart Bank, you'll find a banking experience like no other. You'll find that each of our banking offices are made of local people making local decisions. Even through these challenging times, our teams and lobbies stayed open, ready to help you through all your banking and mortgage needs when you needed us most. So if you're looking to upgrade where you bank, we invite you to come see our Dart difference. After all, we've been doing this for over 94 years. Dart Bank, for what matters most.
Fox Animation goes wild with Housebroken. Mondays on Fox.
Bet Rivers Online Casino is now taking bets in Michigan. Play amazing real money slots and table games right on your mobile phone. New members can get up to a $250 bonus on their first deposit. Play with the winner. Go to betrivers.com today.
Introducing the 2021 Fox 47 race team, featuring pony stock driver Jamie Larner and proud car sponsors, the LaFontaine Automotive Group. Go to LaFontaine to get the family deal today. Bobcat of Lansing, One Tough Animal. The David Chapman Agency. Find us online at davidchapmanagency.com. And Lansing Gardens, helping gardens bloom for 100 years. Cheer on the entire Fox 47 race team every Friday night at Corrigan Oil Speedway in Mason.
Hey Lansing, here's how to take your recycling up a notch. Please don't recycle plastic bags curbside. For plastic, if it's not a bottle, jug, or container, then don't recycle it curbside. And finally, do not bag your recyclables. Learn more at recyclingraccoons.org/Lansing.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for The Big Picture, brought to you by Dean Transportation. Dean is hiring caring and dependable people as school bus drivers in many Michigan markets. Be a hero in your community and safely transport children to and from school with Dean. For more information and to apply, visit deantransportation.com/jobs. That's deantransportation.com/jobs. There you see a post announcing that Michigan football tickets are on sale. Ticket packs, you can split it up, or individual game tickets also going on sale in July. Rico Beard, I can remember a time not that long ago when Michigan football tickets and Michigan State hockey tickets could only be obtained through a will. That was your only chance to get them. The fact that Michigan is marketing tickets now, does that reflect that because of COVID-19, they have to recoup? Or does it have something to do with the success or lack thereof in the program of late?
You know, it is weird, Jack. When I saw that email, I thought it was like spam. And a buddy of mine was like, hey, can you believe this? I'm like, no, not Michigan. Michigan? You're right. It was like a birthright. It was like, trying to get Packers season tickets that it had to be bequeathed to you.
Yeah.
But I think some of it is because of the lack of success. I think some of it is due to COVID. They jam a lot of people in a close space. And if you're not fully okay with being around people that close, then I can see a lot of people opting out. And this is maybe them just trying to drum up interest. But it is weird.
Yeah.
Tom, I'm going to leave this to you because I don't understand. That's Michigan. I thought that they just, automatically sold that place out every year.
Well, they lost $80 to $100 million last year, depending on who you talk to. They have to make up a deficit, although they're projecting that they're going to have a surplus. But you lose $80 million, you got to market as much as you can. I think their performance last year this is a pivotal year for Michigan. They have got to deliver to keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Are they going to bring that Coke deal back where if you buy a case of Coke, you get a free ticket?
Oh, God. Let's can the rich rod talk. Jack, next question, whatever. Throw it at me.
Tom, I hate to go here again, but this story about Dr. Robert Anderson is not going away. Of all the atrocities, and we've seen them on a lot of campuses, but the one thing I still can't understand was when John Vaughn talked about being forced to produce a semen sample. There are several theories about why that would be. What's yours?
Well, there's theory. The theories are graphic of crude nature, Jack. I think it's pretty obvious. This guy Dr. Anderson was a sick individual. Michigan has got to get to the bottom of this thing. And they got to come out and say that, and Rico and I were talking about this, they need to throw out and say, hey, you're a victim. You come forward right now. We want to get this cleaned up. We want to get to the bottom of this. They got to find out who knew what, when, and if there was any enabling going on, that there needs to be accountability in place. This is not good. And it's dividing the Michigan football family as in former players. I don't like the way it hasn't been proactively handled so far by the University of Michigan.
Rico, let's take a look at the storied career of Wolverine's head football coach and athletics director, Bo Schembechler. How do you think this story is being handled by the media, and has the coverage been fair to someone who is not around to defend himself?
Jack, unfortunately, a lot of the local media, they're almost treating it as if they need to defend what Bo is doing, where, when you have players coming out there saying that he knew, and like listening to what Jared Bunch said, how he had a concussion and woke up on the table naked. Like, a lot of things went down. They weaponized Dr. Anderson that, if you don't do well in practice, are you trying to see the doctor again? They made it so that a lot of former players thought that that's what doctor visits were. Ended Bunch's career with the Giants because he didn't trust medical doctors anymore. This is one of those that you got to look at the facts. You got to set aside how you felt about the man when he was coaching, how you felt about the man when you sat in his office. You got to look at what these players are saying that were victimized and all of these survivors, and you have to take that into account.
We'll be right back with more talk about football and basketball coming up.
BetRivers Online Casino is now taking bets in Michigan, playing amazing real money slots and table games right on your mobile phone. New members can get up to a $250 bonus on their first deposit. Play with a winner. Go to BetRivers.com today.
Hi, I'm Wolfgang Buck. When I started my online store, Wolfgang Buck Home, I knew there would be a lot of orders to fill, and I wanted them to ship out fast. That's why I chose ShipStation. ShipStation helps manage orders, reduce shipping costs, and print out shipping labels. It's my secret ingredient.
ShipStation, the #1 choice of online sellers.
And Wolfgang Buck.
Go to shipstation.com/deal and get 2 months free.
Dr. Sheldon Cooper. Cool redefined.
When you take a look inside Dart Bank, you'll find a banking experience like no other. You'll find that each of our banking offices are made of local people making local decisions. Even through these challenging times, our teams and lobbies stayed open, ready to help you through all your banking and mortgage needs when you needed us most. So if you're looking to upgrade where you bank, we invite you to come see our Dart difference. After all, we've been doing this for over 94 years. Dart Bank, for what matters most.
At Graf Chevrolet in Okemos, you'll always get a great deal on a huge selection of high-quality used cars and trucks. But you'll also get something else, peace of mind. Every Graf used vehicle purchase comes with up to 6 oil changes for the first 2 years of ownership. We'll also give you free tire rotation with every other oil change. Always a great selection of used vehicles starting from $1,000 and up. Check them out at grafokemos.com. Lower your cost of ownership with our Peace of Mind program, only at Graf Chevrolet in Okemos.
The Ticket Machine is your local connection to concert, theater, and sporting event tickets nationwide. Our entertainment experts are ready to help you create a memorable experience, trusted by fans for more than 20 years. Whether you're looking for tickets for your corporate outing, family excursion, or vacation, we offer the best seats and the best prices. Grab a front row seat now on theticketmachine.com.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Take It to the Bank segment, brought to you by Dart Bank, dedicated to meeting the needs of our banking community for more than 90 years, with 4 convenient locations in Mason, Holton South Lansing, Grand Ledge, and the expanded Home Loan Center in Frandor. That's Dart Bank for what matters most. Every school, every Power 5 school certainly is going to have to deal with name, image, and likeness. And there you see a video about what Michigan State is trying to do. Rico Beard, what do you think of that short video? And is name, image, and likeness going to work out the way that a lot of people are thinking?
I think for Michigan State, it's great that they're getting in on the start. They're, this thing is going to become official in a couple of days, but they're already saying we're prepared. We're ready for this to happen. But no, Jack, I don't think that people understand. And everybody's thinking, oh, it's going to come from the local car dealership and, from the businessman and Rocket Mortgage. They may give some, but I'm telling you right now, the big time millionaires are going to come based on social media. Tom, it's funny. Adrian Nunez would probably have made the most money last year. And most people don't know who he is. He averaged 1 point a game, but he and his girlfriend are social influencers.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm afraid though, guys, and I'm all about this thing. I think this is great. I think it's going to be a bidding war. I think that the dirtiness of college athletics might be actually, blow up in front of our faces. I hope I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right. And I think that's going to be one of the issues. But Rico, I heard something in connection with what you said, that women's basketball players who have been using social media probably better than any other athlete group already have this thing wired, and they're going to do really well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're going to see women's softball and volleyball players and basketball players because they got big following. They're fun to watch. They do entertaining things, and people, they already have a big following. That's where the money is going to come in. And for Tom, is what you're saying about the bidding war. Okay, you know what? Think of it like Prohibition back in the 20s. And Tom, I think you were, 12 or so when Prohibition was going down. But, okay, when the alcohol was illegal, it was done in back rooms, and now it's legal. Or just think about now with the marijuana industry. It's above ground now. You know what? It's legal, and that's what's going to happen when it comes to the air quote bidding wars. People may step up to the plate, but people made a lot of money in businesses by not throwing away their money. So I don't think that every player is going to get rich. I still think maybe 5% of the players are going to really break the bank. Everybody else is going to be status quo.
Rico, I want to take a quick look at the proposed changes to the college football playoff, going from 4 teams to 12 after 2 more seasons. And we know who was in the playoff last year: Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, and Crimson Tide and Buckeyes playing for the championship. But there you can see what it would have looked like with a 12-team playoff a year ago. If approved, as expected, will the game be significantly better?
I think it will be better, Jack, because it's fun to watch the games. And for people who say, well, it's just going to be the same 2 teams. Okay, in college basketball, it was Gonzaga and it was Baylor. They were the best 2 teams, but the tournament was fun to watch. You're going to watch these games. I think you're going to have fun. And it makes it so that it's not the same 4 teams every year, that other teams gets an opportunity. Heck, I mean, Tom, once again, you should be happy. Your team may get a chance to go to the playoffs if they start winning games. They don't have to win the Big Ten championship.
I understand.
Well, there have only been 11 teams that have been in the first 7 years in those 28 spots, and just 2 from the Big Ten. Tom, with the Pistons winning the lottery and getting the number 1 pick, we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Also, a lot of interest in what's going to happen to players from Michigan State and Michigan. Let's start with you, Tom, and Aaron Henry. Where will he be picked?
Well, I think he could even go late first round, early second round, somewhere in that vicinity. I saw that, one mock had him with the Jazz. Listen, there was some glimpses in that Michigan State game in Ann Arbor early in the game that I thought, man, this dude is NBA. Kind of, he's got his game talks more NBA than does college. He's got a lot of talent. I think he'll have a decent NBA career, quite honestly.
And what about another one of your favorites, Isaiah Livers? Does he ever become a regular in this league?
Well, he's got to get healthy. He's got to be able to showcase his stuff, and there's some uncertainty with his health, and he's been a potato chip to some regards in terms of staying healthy.
Rico, Franz Wagner, is he a lottery pick? Does he fall out? And what about Hunter Dickinson? Does he come back, or does he lead U of M to the Final Four?
Hunter should come back. Franz, apparently everybody's convinced he's a lottery pick. I'm not, though.
We'll be right back with more.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards, because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
Anyone who's had our chicken knows it's plump and juicy. What they may not know is that it's also 100% natural.
All our chickens are certified, humanely raised, no antibiotics, on a high-quality diet of soy and grain.
Why are they called tenders?
They're called tenders because they come from the tenderloin to the breast, hand-trimmed just for colors. It's not a strip or a finger, it is the true tenderloin.
I'll put our chicken tenders up against anybody's.
That's like my Granny Franklin used to make. That's outstanding, Craig.
Welcome to Delicious.
At Graff Chevrolet in Okemos, you'll always get a great deal on a huge selection of high-quality used cars and trucks. But you'll also get something else: peace of mind. Every Graff used vehicle purchase comes with up to 6 oil changes for the first 2 years of ownership. We'll also give you free tire rotation with every other oil change. Always a great selection of used vehicles starting from $1,000 and up. Check them out at graffokemos.com. Lower your cost of ownership with our Peace of Mind program, only at Graff Chevrolet in Okemos.
An all-new crime scene kitchen after MasterChef, Wednesday at 9/8 Central on Fox.
70% of homeowners who purchase a metal roof are unhappy within the first 10 years.
Frank Farmer, president of American Metal Roofs.
That's a strange comment coming from a guy that sells metal roofs, but unfortunately, it's true. So why so much metal roofing regret? Inexperienced contractors began lowering prices to beat us. And the only way to sell a cheaper metal roof is by cutting corners and cutting quality. Suddenly, screw-through metal roofs made for pig barns were going up on homes all over Michigan. Roofs that rust, fade, and leak like a sieve within just a few years. We see it all the time, and it's giving metal roofing a bad name. That's not what a beautiful and guaranteed American metal roof is all about. Yes, we are more expensive because we don't cut corners or quality on anything. Discover why our satisfied customers brag about their roofing experience 20 years later.
Save up to 40% right now during our factory clearance sale. Call 844 Metal Roofs. Pictures, videos, and more online at
AmericanMetalRoofs.com. Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Tracking a Trophy segment, brought to you by The Ticket Machine at the corner of Mount Hope and Hagedorn. For the best in sports and entertainment ticketing, whenever those events resume, visit Brian and his terrific staff at theticketmachine.com. There you see the hero of Western Conference Finals Game 2, DeAndre Ayton, and getting a bear hug there from Kel Bridges. And it was Ayton's alley-oop. They call it the Valley-oop in the Valley of the Sun now. And his lob dunk with less than 1 second to go beat the Los Angeles Clippers. Tom, have you ever seen a better inbounds play in a big game? And what were the Clippers thinking?
That was crazy, and I think we were texting during that. I was mesmerized by that game. That was a crazy ending. That was a perfect offensive play, the lob. But defensively, it wasn't horrible. It was just perfection. And for that to pull, it just shows you how NBA games go on forever. And in terms of opportunity to win, when you have timeouts moving to half court, and you can use tenths of seconds to win a basketball game.
Well, the guarding of the inbounds pass was sloppy, and they didn't protect the rim. They got picked on a terrific screen by Devin Booker,
and that was execution by Devin Booker. So I meant looking from the glass half full side of it as opposed to a negative on that.
Rico, the Clippers came back to take Game 3 and had a great chance to even the series last night, but let it slip away. Couldn't make a shot. One of the worst postseason games I've seen in a long time. In the fourth quarter of this game, gentlemen, just 7 baskets and a combined 29 points. And of the possible 8 quarter totals, 5 of them were 20 points and below. Rico, why couldn't the Clippers close the deal at Staples Center?
Because Jack, Monty Williams did something I have been arguing for years. He used math to his advantage. We're up 3. I'm not going to let you shoot a 3-pointer. I'm going to keep fouling you and make you make the 2, or you're going to have to do some weird thing. And you saw that they weren't able to do that. The Clippers kept failing with that. You saw DeMarcus Cousins not even realize you got to hit the rim. It was smart. Yeah. I'm up 3. I don't have to panic. I'm not going to let you shoot the 3-pointer. I wish other coaches would adopt that theory.
Tom Crawford, how many times in the 19-plus years we've done the show have you heard me scream about that?
I don't want to hear about it.
And there have been times where I've sent random text messages to people at 1 o'clock in the morning because people have not fouled and they can't count to 3.
Jack,
but it's brutal to watch. It's painful to watch it go. As
cares?
a fan,
you get the W.
I
Tom, how is this different from taking a knee and running out the clock in football? It's math.
Yeah,
use it to your advantage.
As a fan, no one cares. Take a look at the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, and Atlanta and Milwaukee are playing Game 3 as we tape this show. Do you think your man, Trae Young, and the Hawks can fly all the way to the NBA Finals?
Well, I think they caught him off guard in Game 1. Listen, I like the Hawks. I love Trae Young. I've been raving about this guy. I love to watch him play. It's wanting something and then thinking what's actually going to happen. This Bucks to Giannis, he makes some plays. The way he stretches his body for a layup, this guy is on a mission. I think you said it best in a conversation. You think the Bucks are going to win it? This is their time. I think they will mop up the Phoenix Suns when they play them. This is over with. The Bucks are going to be the NBA champions.
Well, I'm not completely sold that the Suns are the best team in the West, and I don't know what would have happened if Kawhi Leonard had been in uniform.
But he didn't. He wasn't.
Seeing the Clippers at about 60%. Rico, let's take a look at the NBA draft lottery, and Pistons are on the clock as we speak. Is the Cade Cunningham choice a done deal? Is there any possibility that Troy Weaver could surprise us and pick someone else? Is there anything they could offer the Pistons in trade?
All right, Jack, let me just stop you right here. Yeah, it's a done deal. Don't overthink this thing. Because then people are like, well, what if they offer you Luka Doncic? They're not going to do that. What about that? They're not going to get Dame Lillard. This is the Pistons' chance to get their guy. And if you're Troy Weaver, mock drafts are going to be boring to Pistons fans because you already know who the Pistons are going to take. That's okay. It's kind of like Tom, fouling when you're up 3. It may be boring. Just make the pick, okay? If I'm Troy Weaver, I don't even take my phone to the draft because I already know who I'm picking.
First time since 1970.
That's
I
right.
was in 8th grade or 7th grade. This happened. Bob Lanier or Pete Maravich was the issue. Remember that one, Jack?
Right. It took Bob Lanier from St. Bonaventure. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
Rico, how long will it be now that Pistons fans are thinking, hey, we're going to be in the top 4 in the East?
Probably about 3 years, Jack.
We'll be right back talking baseball.
BetRivers Online Casino is now taking bets in Michigan. Play amazing real money slots and table games right on your mobile phone. New members can get up to a $250 bonus on their first deposit. Play with a winner. Go to BetRivers.com today.
At Discount Carpet Warehouse, we're transforming your home from traditional to modern. We're open for business to serve you. Great flooring, low prices, and a lifetime guarantee on your installation. Discount Carpet Warehouse. Let us floor you.
Send us your favorite fireworks display pics celebrating America. Go to fox47news.com/celebrate. Sponsored by Larry's RV in Jackson.
Are you sick and tired of your old business printer? At Cartridge World in Okemos, you can get brand name printers at no cost. Just buy our quality printer cartridges and we provide the printers for free. Cartridge World in Okemos, just down the road from Meridian Mall.
Meet Sarah Grimmer, your Fox 47 neighborhood reporter.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted, just whistle.
Touchdown, Columbia.
It's another fall Friday night, and your kids should be
playing high school football.
It's a fun game, and it's safer than ever.
It's safe because the rules,
the coaching, and the equipment are better than ever before.
As a result, serious injuries are at an all-time low. Seriously.
And builds
strong schools, lifetime memories, and tomorrow's community leaders. And it's mother approved.
It's a great game, and we want to teach it to your kids.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Law of the Jungle segment, brought to you by Woody's Oasis on Trowbridge Road, your healthy alternative to fast food. Eat Woody's and live longer. Stop and see Chuck, Delita, and their terrific staff for the best in Mediterranean food. That's why I'm there every week. There you see pitcher, Jackson Jobe from Oklahoma City, and looks like he might be headed to the Tigers with the number 3 selection in this week's Major League Baseball draft. Tom, just when everyone said the Tigers would take the best available shortstop, 2 reliable projections have them looking at yet another starting pitcher. At what point do they say, we've got this stable of arms now, it's time we get some position players?
Well, first of all, I'm big, very big on the best available player until you are legitimately in the hunt. Now, the Tigers have done this year has been amazing. They're 10 under 500. They just beat the Astros, or they split the Astros, and they were, the Astros have won 8 of the last 10. I want the best available player regardless of position. I do like that what they've been doing on this pitching staff, though. It's been amazing. Thank you, Chris Fetter.
Rico, today's Tigers game was yet another example of a game that they would have lost a year ago and in many other years. You see the 2-1 win in 10 innings and got a split with the Astros. A lot of people didn't think that was coming. But when you think about the way they did this, after dropping a heartbreaker yesterday, there were 2 late home runs. But A.J. Hinch's team bounced back, persevered. Tarek Skubal was terrific. And the 3rd walk-off hit this season by Robbie Grossman. What do you make of this performance in a game with just 7 hits?
I mean, it was impressive. I mean, the Astros were riding high coming into Detroit. And Detroit's been beating up on bad teams, which has kind of padded their record. It was impressive because they caught the Astros with the element of surprise. Nobody plays small ball anymore in the Major League Baseball. It's softball city. It's beer league softball. Go up there and try to tear the cover off the ball. To do the suicide squeeze and have it work to perfection with Akil Baddoo sliding in. I mean, that was fun baseball to watch. That's the baseball that I like, Jack.
Tom, I want to take a look at the Tigers week. And just 6 games, but they went 4-2, and now they are on pace to win more than 70 games in this season. Very few people thought that they would get to that point. But what does it say that they got 3 straight excellent efforts on the mound against one of the better hitting teams in baseball?
Well, let me expound on Chris Fetter. Chris Fetter was a pitching coach, former Michigan Wolverine. He was a pitching coach, had his dream job at the University of Michigan, and he takes this job, got hired last December. Look what this guy has done with his staff. I mean, I don't think that can be overstated when you have a great pitching coach. And Chris Fetter is doing a terrific job. And I agree with Rico. Small ball is fun. They're winning a lot of different ways, winning exciting games. And Robbie Grossman, his name keeps popping up. So I like the way they're winning games in a climatic way. That's how they're going to fill up Comerica Park more like they used to be.
Tom, when you think about Casey Mize and quality start after quality start, I know someone who is betting the Tigers, but only when Casey Mize pitches, and he's done really well lately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he has. Well, what was that pick? 2018. That was the guy that we Tiger fans all got excited about. He's been in the program that long, and so I think it's a great future. I'm really excited about the Tigers. I mean, I'm actually watching the Tigers a little bit of every game, and that's very unusual for me. Very unusual.
You know, guys, it seems that there are certain teams, for whatever reason, they just can't beat another team. I think a lot of people would have said, well, the Yankees, they have better talent than the Red Sox. The standings don't show that, and the head-to-head matchups don't show it. Yankees haven't beaten Boston yet. And the Tigers, for some reason, have done very well against the Astros and handled them, swept them in Houston, and now I think stealing their heart this weekend. So congratulations, the Tigers, for that. Rico, you think they can crack 70 wins?
No.
We'll be right back. MHSA up next.
BetRivers Online Casino is now taking bets in Michigan. Play amazing real money slots and table games right on your mobile phone. New members can get up to a $250 bonus on their first deposit. Play with a winner. Go to BetRivers.com today.
Come shop designer looks at Value City Furniture and get designer furniture without the designer prices. Now, during our 4th of July sale, the more you buy, the more you save, with up to $500 off store-wide. Or enjoy 48 months, no interest financing. And just $1 can get you the styles you want right now. Plus, store busters while they last. Don't miss our 4th of July sale. We are designer looks only at Value City Furniture.
Congratulations to the Columbia Central Class of 2021. Send us your pictures at fox47news.com/senior spotlight. Go Golden Eagles.
Don't miss Last Man Standing.
Weeknights on Fox 47. Fox47news.com/rebound for ways to make ends meet.
At Graff Chevrolet in Okemos, you'll always get a great deal on a huge selection of high-quality used cars and trucks. But you'll also get something else. Peace of mind. Every Graff used vehicle purchase comes with up to 6 oil changes for the first 2 years of ownership. We'll also give you free tire rotation with every other oil change. Always a great selection of used vehicles starting from $1,000 and up. Check them out at graffokemus.com. Lower your cost of ownership with our Peace of Mind program, only at Graff Chevrolet in Okemos.
Anyone who's had our chicken knows it's plump and juicy. What they may not know is that it's also 100% natural.
All our chickens are certified, humanely raised, no antibiotics, on a high-quality diet of soy and grain.
Why are they called tenders?
They're called tenders because they come from the tenderloin of the breast, hand-trimmed just for colors. It's not a strip or a finger, it is the true tenderloin.
I'll put our chicken tenders up against anybody's.
That's like my Granny Franklin used to make. That's outstanding, Craig.
Welcome to Delicious.
Sports give so many opportunities to kids. It gives them an opportunity to see where they fit within a team, persevere, understanding how to work with different personalities. Those are the lessons that will make you a successful adult. As a mom, you have to have an understanding of what concussions are.
Concussions are things that are treatable. If we take care of athletes, they will be able to develop and have a long, happy, healthy life.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Value and Values segment, brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, a statewide organization with a proud history. The MHSAA supports broad-based opportunities for growth and teaches life lessons through the value and values of high school athletics. We are finally finished with the 2020-21 school year, one we hope we'll never see again due to all the COVID complications, but that means we're still a few weeks at least away from the start of another fall season. And to talk about the past 10 months, I want to welcome in an old Lansing State Journal colleague, Jeff Kimmerly. He is the MHSAA Communications Director. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, how are you, Jack?
A lot of people doubted if we would have championships in the fall, the winter, and the spring, and MHSAA pulled that off. I think close to 90 different schools. Won titles. What can
we
you
ended up with 89. We had 132 championships awarded by the time we got through a couple of ties, with 89 schools winning at least one of them.
And a couple of first-time winners.
Owasso softball, which was, big news, obviously, just a few weeks ago, or a week ago, actually, this weekend. And then Detroit Douglas basketball, which is big news locally, of course, because of Pierre Brooks Jr. Being the force on that team as they won for the first time as well.
And that's the first time those schools had won in any sport.
In any sport at all.
Jeff, 27 schools, I believe, won multiple titles, and 3 schools won 4 or more championships. Can you tell us about that?
Correct. 27 schools won multiple championships. Marquette led the way with 5. They win a lot up in the Upper Peninsula, especially in those championships that are split between Lower and Upper Peninsula. So they continue to have a ton of success up there. Ann Arbor Pioneer and Grass Lake both won 4. And Grass Lake, I guess you could say, kind of won 4.5. Because they also had some athletes on the Jackson area cooperative team that won gymnastics for the first time. So that was obviously exciting for those schools.
Jeff, how many programs broke through and won a state championship for the first time?
So from a team standpoint, we had 39 teams win their first championships. Obviously the 2 that won the first championships for any team at their school are included in that number. And then we also had 42 that were repeat winners. So it kind of shows you both sides of where we're at when it comes to achieving that success during a given school year.
What about the schools that have long championship strings? How many schools have won, say, 3 or more state championships?
We have 15 teams that won at least their third. 6 of those teams won their 4th in a row. Rockford girls, lacrosse, Lowell wrestling are tied for the longest streak. They've both won 8 championships in a row. Rockford girls, obviously that includes skipping 2020 when we didn't have a season to play.
And you had some amazing individual performances, and had a guy named Hobbs Kessler from Ann Arbor, and there he is running in the Olympic trials.
Yeah, obviously he was a headliner of our track and field championships at the beginning of this month. People, not just at Ann Arbor, in the Ann Arbor area, they all know him, of course. We're following him, but he had become someone that had gained some statewide interest. And it's kind of neat now because we're seeing a few other people from our state, potentially or having already qualified for the Olympic team. And so we'll be keeping an eye on those participants and cheering for them this summer, of course.
Jeff, truth be told, were you pleasantly surprised that things came off as smoothly as they did? There was a point where I said, I don't know if we're going to pull this off.
I think the only surprise from our standpoint was really the way things seemed to smooth out in the spring. I think by the time we got to the end of winter, we felt like, okay, spring is the season where we can really do things as close to normally as possible. And then to have the restrictions all of a sudden being repealed as quickly as they were, more quickly than obviously, the deadlines had been at that point. I think that was just something of a surprise, but a good one. I think we always felt like we would get through all 3 seasons eventually. Obviously, 2 of them were with delayed endings, but we always knew that we had a little bit of time and we were going to do everything that we could to not miss out on another season like we had to a spring 2020 and the last few winter tournaments as well.
Well, I think now we're going to expect to get some crowds back and be much more like normal. Thanks so much, Jeff. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Woody's Oasis, your healthy alternative to fast food. Woody's has the best Mediterranean food in town. Stop and see Chuck and Delita. They'll make you feel like family. Their friendly, knowledgeable staff is always willing to help.
Hi, how are you doing today? Do you want to do the homemade bread with it, or did you want to do the thin bread as the side?
They'll be sure to put a smile on your face. And as lifelong supporters of MSU athletics, you never know who might stop by. Eat Woody's and live longer.
Coulda, shoulda, Woody's.
Woody's Oasis on Trowbridge Road, right next to campus.
Call it a sense of purpose, a higher calling. At Dean Transportation, we call it our passion. It's simply who we are. 60 years of pioneering the best health and safety standards because safe student transportation is essential. We are hard-working folks, connecting children to learning, schools to our communities, and you to a better career. Want to make Mid-Michigan a better place? We'll put you in the driver's seat. Join the Dean family today and help to connect our kids to brighter futures.
When you take a look inside Dart Bank, you'll find a banking experience like no other. You'll find that each of our banking offices are made of local people making local decisions. Even through these challenging times, our teams and lobbies stayed open, ready to help you through all your banking and mortgage needs when you needed us most. So if you're looking to upgrade where you bank, we invite you to come see our Dart difference. After all, we've been doing this for over 94 years. Dart Bank, for what matters most.
Live with Kelly and Ryan comes to Fox 47 on August 23rd.
Bet Rivers Online Casino is now taking bets in Michigan. Play amazing real money slots and table games right on your mobile phone. New members can get up to a $250 bonus on their first deposit. Play with a winner. Go to betrivers.com today.
Looking for a job? Watch Fox 47 News every Wednesday for Workers Wanted. This week, check out the openings at Henry Ford Allegiance Health.
Nobody can read between the lines like Judge Judy.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for a cool and smooth segment brought to you by 4 great Culver's locations in mid-Michigan. Okemos North and South, North Lansing, and West Lansing. Since 1984, Culver's has been delighting guests one meal at a time with scrumptious butter burgers and premium frozen custard. Swing through any Culver's drive-thru and grab your fresh favorites. That's Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
Not what the man needed. Brutal finish for Vinny after such a strong week.
And does Conrad, he's trying to make this, right?
I imagine he's going to
think?
take a stab at it. He's got such great control with these left to rights with his putter or mid-range. He's a ways back, and he's going to have to still make the dog leg. He's got a lot of space out there to the left. We'll see how aggressive of an angle he puts on this, or if he keeps it more neutral and just lets the disc drag over.
He's using that envy again, so it's a putter.
Oh, no way! No way!
Unbelievable. What did we just watch?
Dude,
that's
a lot of people think they watched the play of the year there. James Conrad, 247 feet out. Guys, this would be like the 18th hole of the Masters, and you holing out from 247 yards away to create a playoff, which you later won in the World Disc Golf Championships. There's never been a shot like that. You can say it was luck, but pretty amazing. Rico, what do you have for our play of the week?
I don't know what I just watched right
No,
there.
Frisbee's not a sport. Frisbee is not a sport. Why is that? I don't agree with that.
Okay. I got a couple. I mean, I had DeAndre Ayton's alley-oop as the play of the week. And then I thought about Grossman's suicide bunt. Man, that was sweet. But I still got to go with the biggest play of the week. It was the Pistons getting the number 1 overall pick. This could set this franchise up for the next 10 plus years if they get it right with Cade Cunningham, and he's everything we think he's going to be.
I knew you were going to say that. But by the way, ESPN last night had that disc golf throw as its play. So, Tom, what do you have for
Jack, you need a vacation.
What do you have for our team of the week?
Touche to me. Listen, I really enjoy, as I mentioned, the NBA playoffs and DeAndre Ayton. That whole situation with the last second win, that capped the Phoenix Suns' week to me. That whole thing that they got the commanding 3-1 lead over the Clippers, which people thought would be the NBA champs. I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns because I was a Suns fan back in '76 when they should have beat the Celtics and they didn't. And I've liked the Suns from a distance, and they haven't been to the NBA Finals, I think, since 1993 or something. So they're my team of the week, and I hope they win it all, though I don't think they're going to win it all. I think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks.
Hey, Tom, you know who was in the Stanley Cup in '93?
Who's that? No.
The Montreal Canadiens.
Oh.
How about exactly?
Yeah.
I'm going there in just a minute, Rico. Tom, I can't interest you in the Pistons for the way they handled the ping pong balls.
No, because it's like playing the lotto. I mean, there's no skill in that. I got to give it to the Suns. I mean, when the Pistons get back to the playoffs, then maybe I'll give them a nod.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple for player of the week. You talk about the Canadians. What about goalie Carey Price and what he has done, lifting the Canadians now into the Stanley Cup Finals against the defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning? That was incredible. How about East Lansing's Taylor Manson? She's going to be an Olympian after the Olympic trials. She'll be in the 4x4 relays. And how about Robbie Grossman? His third walk-off of the year, and this time he didn't have to hit it over the fence, able to execute a bunt. And there are so many players now who can't or won't do that. I want to thank Rico Beard. You hear him on 97.1 The Ticket. And Bluebelly Tom Crawford. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.